Hey guys, just want to do a quick review of TNA Slammiversary 2013. I know what you're saying. A lot of people do not like TNA wrestling. They think it's not a good product, and it's nowhere near as in the same league as WWE. I like wrestling, and I do like having like a second like company out there, like an alternative to WWE, just like WCW, ECW in the past. It's good. It's having a second company out there makes WWE try harder, I guess. I think the problem with TNA is not with the wrestlers; they have talent. I just think the management is just and creative is the problem, and they need to work on that in 2014. They need to put some more money in advertising their wrestlers because I mean you could go anywhere and you don't have to be a wrestling fan, but you pretty much know who John Cena is. But that's one of the things they need to work on. Now, getting back now with the review, this one came out a couple weeks ago. This is one of their new DVDs. If you go to TNAshop.com, they're doing a sale on their DVDs the entire month. So basically, this came out. The pay per view is in June. I think it was probably one of their best pay per views. So here's the back cover. So the opening match you'll get on here is the Ultimate X match for the TNA X Division Championship. Kenny King defends the title against Chris Sabin and Suicide. Typical what you expect from an Ultimate X match. A lot of high flying action. Really good match. I think it was one great opener. It was great to see Chris Sabin back. He looked pretty good in the match. And then the next match you have is the six-man tag team, Magnus, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy versus the Aces of Eight, Wes Briscoe, Garrett Bischoff, and Mr. Anderson. Hogan comes out before the match and he does a little like promo, which leads into this six-man tag team match, which was okay. I guess this was the one that Jeff Hardy returned because he was out of action since lockdown when he lost the title. And then the next match is the TNA Gut Check Tournament Final. Sam Shaw versus Jay Bradley. I actually skipped that match. I had no interest in seeing that match. Sorry to anybody that's a fan of those guys. I just wasn't interested. And then the next one is Devon versus Joseph Park in a TNA television match. Basically, what that was, prior to the match, they did a backstage interview with Joseph Park, which he got beat up by the Aces of Eight. And so basically, Devon comes down and they're ready to have the match. And Abyss comes out instead of Joseph Park, and they have the match. And Abyss beats Devon and wins the television title, which I guess they're not using the television title anymore. The next match, it was probably one of the second best matches on the card, and that was the tag team match, elimination match. Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez versus Cowboy James Storm, Gunner versus Bad Influence versus Austin Aries, and Bobby Roode. Great match, what can you say? I mean, you got Austin Aries in the match, Christopher Daniels, one of the top workers in the business, Chavo Guerrero. I mean, it was just a great match. And then you have the knockout standing. The last knockout standing match. Gail Kim versus Taryn Terrell. Don't really remember much about that match. And then you have Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles, and probably the best match of the night. They work well together. I mean, throughout TNA. I mean, how many times has AJ Styles and Kurt Angle wrestled in a pay-per-view? I mean, countless times. I mean, they fought against each other. They were tag team partners at one time. So this was a pretty good match. You get to see AJ Styles a new way that his new kind of gimmick, kind of like the loner gimmick that he has. And then the main event was a no holds barred match. Bully Ray versus Icon Sting. What you can say about Sting is that, I mean, I know a lot of people say that his age, he's getting old, but he can still do it, and the match is pretty good for Sting is pretty old, but like he can still wrestle, and I knew Sting was going to lose in the match, but like still, I mean, at points in the match, you really believed that maybe perhaps he could have beat Bully Ray. So it was a good match. It was a great pay-per-view. As you can see, this is going to be it's a 2-disc set. So there's 2 discs in here. You know, one is the pay-per-view, and then there's a lot of bonus features. And you get pretty much, which is a whole bonus feature, is a Q&A with Bully Ray, and he answers all questions. You know, he talks about ECW and stuff, and it's pretty cool because you kind of see him out of this, like, kind of like he tries to stay in character, but you know, it's a good Q&A. Also, you get a lot of the TNA impacts leading up to the pay-per-view, which is pretty cool. Overall, I mean, if you enjoy TNA or if you enjoy wrestling, I definitely would recommend this DVD. It's probably one of their best pay-per-views that they've had. Just solid wrestling, no nonsense, just, you know, action from the top to the bottom. I could say the only weak matches on the card was probably Sam Shaw versus Jay Bradley. Not because, I mean, it's a, you know, bad match, it's just that we don't know these guys well enough. I mean, there's not enough, like, promotion into these guys. You know, but it's a you know, it's a pretty good card. You know, if you enjoy TNA, I would definitely purchase it. Thank you.